All right, I want to go over one of my favorite lures. This is a white bucktail with a sand deal imitation trailer, and in this case, it's an Eddystone long trailer that usually is about 7 inches that I cut down and attached to the bucktail. The bucktail itself is a Tin Man lure, full tin bucktail with red thread, and the fluke that I got with this was quite large. It was about 23 inches in an inlet, and it was really an amazing catch because nobody was catching anything that day. And the only bait in the water was some large spearing going back and forth in the rocks. So if you spend, excuse me, if you spend enough summers fishing the surf or in the inlets, you'll eventually realize something. The biggest fluke don't always want a fat bait. Some of the largest fish I've taken really, either from the beach or inlet, have come on a slim profile that look more like a sand eel than a mullet. That's where a white bucktail tipwood like this long trailer, sand eel trailer, comes in. It isn't really about the numbers, it's about the quality. When sand eels are buried in a wash or sliding, along the jetty or the outer bar, this combination always does really well for a keeper fluke. Kind of keeps the shorts away. What it really imitates is sand eels, as you can see from the long tail. I'll go into the bucktail here a little bit, but also spearing, and the kind of hair here gives it a little bit of life as you move it through the water. Target species for this is primarily a flounder, and you'll see the detail here on the head of the tin lure. It's really, really well done. Again, I got these from Tin Man Lures on eBay. I bought quite a few from him, and it's really fantastic. The good thing about using this bucktail is that, like with using any bucktail, there's a good chance that you'll also get some bycatch with striped bass and weak fish. One of the things I like to do, especially on an open beach with this particular setup, is basically a slow crawl or steady retrieve. Even if you're in an inlet, a steady retrieve would be good. I often see a lot of people bouncing jigs and bucktails with either in an inlet or in a jetty, off a jetty or on the sand. And I've never actually gotten big fluke that way. I know it stirs up the bottom and everything and gets attention. The biggest fluke I've ever gotten have always been on a really slow, steady retrieve without much motion, and they just crush it. So it's very different for some reason why they do that. But there isn't all this like noise. I guess it's just really steady retrieve. Keep it simple. Let it glide. It's going to glide through the water, and as the water hits the bucktail, it's going to pulsate like that. Give it some action, and then as you can see from the tail, and this is an Eddystone tail, but it works just as well with red gill. You get this really beautiful pulsation on the tail side that attracts so many. If there's bluefish around, they will absolutely slaughter this trailer. So you should definitely have a few of these. It really shines in moving water like an inlet where you get changes in current and tides. For surf conditions, when you talk about 2 to 3 foot surf, that's really pretty good as well. What you don't want to do is use it when it's like chocolate colored surf or pounding surf or heavy weeds. That kind of ruins the subtle movement of the trailer here. This is pretty delicate, but you know, in a rolling surf like that, it's really hard to see a lot of movement when you got all the other stuff going on, like clams breaking against the rocks and a lot of sediment rising up. Best time I've used in terms of water temperature has been like 65 to 74 degrees. So you're looking at essentially early summer throughout the summer. June is fantastic to use this. July is really peak because you get a lot more sand eels in the surf, and this combination is, you know, really hard to beat. So, you know, you get a little bit of a shine here as well off the top, but again, just a real steady retrieve. I'll even use this in early September just because the fluke are highly active and they are chasing, you know, peanut bunker. They are chasing other things like mullet, you know, along the rocks and along the beach. So in terms of skill level, you know, I think most everyone can use this, but I find that people who have some experience fishing for fluke and have an intermediate skill level would do well with this, especially this type of bucktail. So why do I pick a tin bucktail versus lead? Because it does have, you know, well, buoyancy is not the right word, but it doesn't drop as fast, and it kind of glides through the water better. You know, it's just it's what I would call just a more a softer bucktail to use, in that it can suspend better, like 6 inches or maybe 7 inches off the ground. So if I was especially, you know, hunting for large fluke in the 22-inch or bigger range, this is what I would start with, and really at any time of the season. Again, I don't know if you could see it on the video, but this is a good, you know, 7 to 8 inch lure. It may be thin, but it's still, you know, a substantial lure for any fish to take in, and especially for a fluke. You know, you'll get some nips here from the shorts, so they'll peck at it, but the fluke that I've gotten take it, they just try to inhale the thing. You know, the 23 incher I got on it really tried to inhale this thing and just like crushed it. So, you know, it's not something you'll buy in a store, but it's definitely something that you can create with a nice clean bucktail. This one's about an ounce, or maybe 3/4 of an ounce, and then a trailer, either an Eddystone or a red gill trailer of this size. All right, best of luck.